How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to be showcasing my go-to build for PvP in Season of the Splicer. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like and hit the subscribe button. Alrighty, before we get into our weapons and armor, we're going to take a quick look at my settings. As you can see, I currently play on a 7 look sensitivity and a 9 ADS sensitivity modifier. My mouse DPI is currently at a 1500, which is pretty quick. I do that so that way I can have a full 360-degree rotation in a single range of motion, going from either right to left or left to right. I'd only recommend going with this fast of a sensitivity if you use a claw grip on your mouse, using only wrist for wider movements and fingers for smaller adjustments. Okay, let's take a really quick look at why this is my go-to build for Season of the Splicer. As you guys know, I pretty much exclusively use the Burning Maul super. A lot of people don't understand why, but I'll get into more of that later. Second thing we're going to take a look at is our throwing hammers. They're really powerful, and it is the main reason why I use the subclass, because its neutral game is really strong. And our roaring flames is when we get kills with our solar abilities, increase those abilities damage, it stacks up to 3 times. And you can get some pretty nasty one-hit throwing hammers after you get 3 times of roaring flames. And lastly, we have our Tireless Warrior, which is after hitting an enemy with a throwing hammer, picking up the hammer triggers your health regeneration, which can be pretty great for mid gunfights. So say you throw your throwing hammer as like a lead-in, and then you can play for your hammer during your 1v1 to try and trigger that health regeneration to get the edge on your opponent. Another thing that makes the throwing hammers really strong is the Dune Marchers. Basically, it can turn into a secondary grenade. And so once you have your linear actuators charged up, you're able to throw your throwing hammer from a distance and proc linear actuators and tag up a whole bunch of people with the throwing hammer. Here is a pretty good example as to why I think Burning Maul is pretty top tier and ultimately underrated. I think one of the biggest misunderstandings about Burning Maul is how to use the super. It's not so much a super where you run in and try and get a slam directly on top of them, but rather a super where you focus on positioning to try and line up for your fire tornado to do all the work with its tracking. As you can see on those last few kills, I was able to put myself in a position where I was able to send a tornado through the main door and the side door while remaining out of the line of sight of my enemies. It's really important because the Burning Maul super animation for the slam is really slow, and any good sniper or any good player is going to be able to kill you out of your super while the animation is going on. And for that reason alone, being able to stay out of sight while getting reliable kills with your fire tornado from a distance is what makes this super top tier, in my opinion. Next up, let's go ahead and take a look at our weapons. We'll start off with the Supremacy, which is my go-to sniper rifle this season. It is the only 40 zoom sniper that is not sunset in the game right now. I have a pretty good roll. I have Snapshot Sight, which is faster time to aim down sights, which is almost a necessary perk for PvP. As you guys know, flinch is pretty bad in snipers, so it's all about being able to get the shot off before they start shooting at you. Snapshot really helps accomplish that. Next we have our armor piercing rounds, which causes our rounds to over penetrate targets, which is the only way to get a true collat with snipers in Destiny 2. And we have corkscrew rifling, rapid hit, and handling masterwork, which are just kind of okay, but the main 2 perks that make the sniper really great are our snapshot sights and armor piercing rounds. Lastly, let's go over my secondary weapon of choice, which is the Atkelos SMG. I prefer to use an SMG over something like a 120 round per minute cannon because I don't really enjoy using these. I like using 140s and 150s, however, they currently don't have enough firepower to outgun something like an Igneous. However, with my SMG, it's something I feel confident winning my 1v1s at its intended range, and something that pairs really well with my sniper. In my opinion, I have the absolute god roll Atkelos SMG. It might not be everyone's god roll, but for what I want to use it for, it definitely is. Starting with full bore, which is the barrel that increases the range the most out of any other barrel. Next up we have our Seraph rounds, which is basically a pre-nerf ricochet round, so it's going to help increase our range that much more. Next up we have Subsistence, which is really strong on this weapon because it has only 29 rounds in the magazine, which is pretty low, and so as soon as you get a kill, it loads a couple extra rounds in the magazine to help secure a second kill. Then we have a range masterwork, which is going to help push our range out even more. Lastly, we have Vorpal Weapon, which does increase damage against bosses, vehicles, and guardians with their super active. And if you don't know already, this thing just melts supers. Dawn Blades, Spectral Blades, Behemoths, you name it, this thing is just going to melt them. And because lots of people ask me, I figured I'd let you in on a secret, and I actually used the Nessus Mirage shader on this. It gives it a nice little silver look. There's one last thing I want to talk about today, which is our armor mods. As you can see, I only use mods that affect my primary weapon, and cannons and SMGs are my go-to, so I just leave those on because I don't like switching them around. If you need sniper targeting on PC, you either need to drop the controller or hit the Kovacs. And flinch is already so bad, unflinching sniper aim isn't going to do anything for you. That's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and follow me on Twitter so that way you can link me all your best Burning Maul plays. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day. Be sure to follow me at twitch.tv/wackypizza.